Recently, I was in Atlanta to meet a donor and arrived early enough to go to my home church. It was Women's Day. The guest preacher was Dr. Teresa Fry Brown, professor of preaching at Emory University and distinguished womanist theologian. Her text was one I did not know, Numbers chapter 27. It is the story of the 5 daughters of Zelophehad. They went to Moses and the entire congregation when their father died to ask for his inheritance. You see, in those days, an inheritance could only be passed to sons or the next male relatives. Dr. Brown shared that in this highly patriarchal society, when counting the population, you started with the men, then the children, then the animals, and then the women. Dr. Brown and her sanctified imagination discussed how the congregation whispered amongst themselves, "How dare they ask Moses for that inheritance? They are about to mess it up for everyone else." She suggested that those who hated on the sisters the most may have been women. But Moses took their plea to God, and God said the daughters were right. The Message version of the Bible, verse 8 reads, "Then tell the people of Israel, if a man dies and leaves no son, give his inheritance to his daughter." Dr. Brown's sermon was entitled Word Power. She forcefully argued that women have to use their word power and cautioned us not to try to discount the words because of a person's background. You know, respectability politics. More about that later. Dr. Brown said that all sisters, no matter their age, build, sexual orientation, child status, or profession, and she said legal or illegal, did not rob them of their words. She then quoted Zora Neale Hurston, "If we are silent about our pain, they will kill us and say we enjoyed it." This message was for me to hear, to share with you, because our speaker is like those daughters of Zelophehad who for almost a decade has been telling her story unashamedly and boldly. I first heard about Karrine Steffans watching the 2005 VH1 documentary, Hip-Hop Videos, Sexploitation on the Set. In a revealing program about the unseen happenings related to hip-hop videos, this extremely thoughtful and articulate woman told her truth and shocked the world. It aired during the first season of Bless the Mic lecture series at Philander, so I wanted her to speak. In April of 2006, the day after Karrine appeared on Oprah, she was in Little Rock. It was her first time speaking in front of an audience like this, packed full of energy. But I was more intrigued by what I saw after the event when she spent some one-on-one time with some of my students who worked the event. Everyone who travels and speaks doesn't take time to connect with people in an open way. She did, and I became a fan. So we have stayed in touch as her career has blossomed. Author of 7 titles now, including 3 New York Times bestsellers, numerous television appearances, recent presenter for the Empowerment Zone at the 2015 Essence Festival, materials adopted for courses including Lehigh University, where Dr. Monica Miller, professor of religion and director of women, gender, and sexuality studies, calls her, along with Kanye, Beyonce, and Oprah, as one of the new black gods, people who make you see their humanity. In fact, Dr. Miller is writing about Karrine in a new book, calling her one of the most important figures in pop culture to discuss gender, sexuality, and race. Wow. So I was a little surprised this summer when there was concerns about her coming. Some, in name of protecting the image and brand of the university, began a petition to block her appearance, even threatening to withhold contributions. This was gendered, sexist respectability politics on display. But let me say 3 quick things. First, I am a stereotypical Taurus, especially when I have a well-designed and thoughtful event in place. So let me quote from Lucius Lyon. I know some of y'all might be trying to run out at 8 o'clock. Y'all keep acting like y'all don't know me. Second, I learned recently in the mid-1970s, Dillard University paid David Duke, Grand Dragon of the KKK, to speak here. and he told all the students to go back to Africa. Finally, no petitions or social media posts have been written to call for us to rescind our honorary degree to Bill Cosby. The New York Times called me to ask why. Yes, dude on the cover of Ebony magazine who cracked the Huxtable image because he drugged and raped possibly 50 women. But we mad because Karrine is honest and she tarnishes our image. As Karrine wrote poignantly in her second book, my father once said to me that the worst thing I ever did was to be born a girl. Because if I were born a man, the things I've done would either be celebrated or overlooked. That's why none of the men mentioned in her books, even those who were married, received an ounce of criticism. Times-Picayune editorial writer Jarvis DeBerry writes today, in today's paper, that attacking Ebony for trying to take Cosby down and threatening cancellations and a boycott. DeBerry writes, I'd put my love of the Cosby Show up against just about anybody's, but I'm more passionate about women not being raped. I'm more passionate about a free and spirited exchange of ideas. Me too. And so I am thankful for controversy because it helped me to understand domestic violence much better. Many of us still hold a biblical mindset that women like Zelophehad's daughters should be silent and counted after the animals. When this is our mindset, it is no wonder that domestic violence is running rampant in our community, as Candace indicated. The only way we can deal with it is through honest conversation, and that's what Karrine Steffans does. She challenges sexual hypocrisy and exposes the many ways society gives men a free pass for sexual exploration while repudiating women for sexual agency. Dr. Shane Lee at the University of Houston describes Karrine as an exotic revolutionary who almost single-handedly reshapes black sexual politics by inspiring fruitful discussion about female sexuality and mistreatment and deconstructing gendered double standards. Like her new book title says, she is vindicated and is here with us tonight for an honest conversation about domestic violence. So please, will you help me welcome our guest brain food chef for this evening, Karrine Steffans.
Thank you, Dr. Kimbrough, for you said things about me I didn't even know. I did. So thank you for that. Moving introduction. Thank you for all of you for being here and for giving me your time. Some of you did not want me here, but I am here, and I don't mean Dillard University, I mean here. I am here, and I'm not going anywhere, and there's no petition in the world that can stop me. I didn't make it this far by being ashamed, by being silent. I didn't make it this far by being weak or stoppable. I will always be here. And even after I am dead, I will still be here because I have left my mark on this society, and there's nothing you can do to undo the work that I have done. Judgment is your language. Judgment, some of you call it your opinion. Some of you believe your opinion deserves to be heard every 5 seconds of every day. On social media, you leave comments in everyone's comment sections about what you think, and the fact that you think what you think is always right, and you're judging everyone all the time, hoping that no one ever judges you. This is your language. This is the social media age, the external rhetoric that every day tears people down. all in the name of free speech, opinion, because your opinion matters, what, all the time, about everything, to everybody. And you are creating cracks in people. You are creating these little tiny slivers of pain that never go away. The heart will always remember where it has been broken. And every time you give your opinion, every time you give your judgment, you hurt a soul. See, y'all got the right one, because your judgment doesn't hurt me. It makes me stronger. It fuels me. Every stone you throw makes me stronger. I pile them up and I climb higher, and I love your judgment, because then I can show the world, you see, the world can throw stones at you and you don't have to die. You can pile them high and climb on top and call them a mountain, baby, but you can't kill me with your stones. No, not with your judgment. No, not with your opinion. No, and you can no longer create cracks in me. I am fortified. But there are people out here who are not so. I speak for those people. And guess what? Most of you are those people. Most of you couldn't survive a stone's throw. Most of you are hurting. Don't like yourselves much. Somebody told you were too black. You're too ugly. Your hair is too nappy, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too something, not enough of something else. Somebody created a crack in you. Judgment is your language. Only thing is that judgment from other sinners is invalid. Your judgments are invalid. Your opinions on someone else are invalid, because you are not better than. Your sin isn't better than my sin. My sin isn't better than your sin. There is no good sin. We're all sinners. Your opinions, your judgments on other people's lives are invalid. But you give them so freely. You create these cracks, and now you have all these wounded people. You're wounded because hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. And then that hurt person goes out into the world, and these are the perfect conditions for predators. An abuser can see a crack a mile away. And they can smell blood in the water, and they circle. Because see, you broke them down first, remember? With your petitions and what you don't think needs to happen, and I don't like this. You have all this stuff to say, and you made this person feel as if they weren't good enough for you. Because who are you? Who were you to satisfy? That someone isn't good enough for you. What they do isn't good enough for you. What they say isn't good enough for you. Because you're better than somebody? Which one of you is God? Please stand up. Okay. Nobody that was standing, that wasn't standing, isn't standing, so I'm supposing everybody here is mortal. Okay, that's good to know. So now, you've sent this hurt person out, because hurt people, and so you hurt someone else with your judgment, and you send them out into the world not feeling good enough.